What if everything you know is wrong?
Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to talk about that magnetic pull your phone has on you and what's really going on inside your brain when you feel it. Because modern technology, well, it's interacting with our brain chemistry in some pretty wild ways. You know that feeling, right? That twitch to just pull it out of your pocket, to check, to scroll. It really does feel like pulling the lever on a slot machine, hoping for that little reward. Turns out, that's not just a feeling. It's pretty much exactly what's happening in your brain. And just how real is it? Well, get this. Researchers found that the average person checks their phone about 150 times a day. Think about that. That's not you deciding to use your phone. That's a compulsive habit, a loop that's got millions of us in its grip. So what is actually driving this insane loop? To understand that, we've got to talk about the one brain chemical at the very heart of all this. This is where we get into the modern-day high that our devices are giving us, one tiny little microdose at a time. Okay, so let's talk about dopamine. You've probably heard it called the pleasure chemical, but that's only part of the story. Its real job is so much more important. It's all about motivation. It's the little messenger in your brain that says, hey, pay attention, this right here, this is important. And think about how this system is supposed to work. You accomplish a goal, you eat an amazing meal, you connect with someone you care about. Your brain releases a little bit of dopamine. This lights up what you can think of as your brain's reward highway. And that feeling reinforces the behavior, telling your brain, yeah, do that again. It's literally the system that helped us survive, learn, and build good habits for thousands of years. But, and this is a huge but, that ancient survival-based system is now being hacked by modern technology. So let's take a look at what happens to your brain when social media gets thrown into the mix. So on one hand, you have these natural, meaningful things that give you a dopamine hit. But on the other, you've got the digital versions, a notification, a like, that endless scroll. The brain responds in a similar way, but the key difference is the unpredictability. These digital rewards are random, which is exactly what gets us hooked. It taps into that same ancient system that kept our ancestors searching for unpredictable food sources. Now, it just keeps us scrolling. And if you think this is all just some happy accident, it's not. As Tristan Harris, who used to be an ethicist at Google, puts it, this is literally behavioral engineering for attention addiction. These platforms are built like slot machines on purpose to keep us glued to the screen for as long as possible. And just how powerful is this engineering? Well, it's pretty shocking. Brain scans show that using social media activates the exact same reward centers, like the nucleus accumbens, as highly addictive substances like cocaine. Some recent studies have even found that the brain's signature for a digital high looks eerily similar to a substance high. To really see this in action, let's picture your brain waves. So when your brain is at rest, just chillin', it's full of what are called alpha waves. This is your calm, reflective, baseline state. It's where your brain is supposed to be when you're not actively engaged in something. But the second you start scrolling, boom, that whole picture flips. The calming alpha waves disappear, and your brain gets flooded with high-frequency beta and gamma waves. This is a state of high alert, intense focus, and serious cognitive load. We're basically putting our brains into a constant state of fight or fight. So, okay, we're keeping our brains in this hyper-stimulated state for hours every single day. What's the big deal? Well, as it turns out, the consequences are pretty alarming. They affect everything from our ability to focus to our overall mental health. You've probably heard this one, but it is just wild. Our average attention span has now dropped to just 8.25 seconds. For a little bit of context, that is officially shorter than the attention span of a goldfish. The constant switching and scrolling is literally rewiring our brains to lose the ability to focus. And it goes way deeper than just our attention span. This constant flood of cheap dopamine actually makes our brain's receptors less sensitive. That means we need more and more stimulation to feel anything at all. It makes the real world seem kind of dull, and that leads to low motivation, boredom, and even anxiety. In fact, one report found that 63% of adults feel anxious when they're separated from their phones. That's a classic sign of withdrawal. And this is especially dangerous for young, developing brains. A recent major study showed that teenagers who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media have a staggering 60% higher rate of depression. The link is becoming impossible to ignore. And you know that wired, antsy feeling you get even after you put your phone down? Well, this is why. Your brain's active waves, the beta and gamma ones, they stay elevated long after you've logged off. Your brain stays in that hyper-aroused state, and it takes a long time for those calming alpha waves to come back. That's digital burnout, right there. Okay, I know that was a little bleak, but here is the really good news. It doesn't have to be this way. Our brains are incredibly adaptable. We actually have the power to retrain them. So let's talk about solutions. How do we start reclaiming our focus and our peace of mind? All right, here's a simple 4-step path that's backed by science. Step 1, try a dopamine fast. Just take intentional breaks from all the high dopamine digital stuff to let your brain's receptors reset. Step 2, mindful activities, like meditation or even just journaling. These give you a much steadier, healthier dopamine release. Step 3, and this is a big one, move your body. Exercise is one of the best ways to get those natural feel-good chemicals flowing. And finally, step 4, real face-to-face human connection. It gives you a whole cocktail of positive brain chemicals that scrolling just can't match. And hey, this isn't just fluffy advice. That mindfulness point, a massive review of over 100 different scientific trials found that these practices give a real, measurable boost to attention, memory, and focus. It's a direct antidote to the scattered feeling we get from our devices. And you can support all this with some simple health habits. Getting enough sleep, like 7 to 9 hours, is absolutely critical for keeping your brain chemicals balanced. And what you eat matters too. Foods with an amino acid called tyrosine, think bananas, almonds, dairy, give your brain the raw materials it needs to make its own dopamine, the natural way. So, here's the bottom line. This whole modern dopamine economy is designed to turn our natural search for pleasure into a state of constant dependence. And for millions of people, it's working. But the real takeaway, the hopeful part, is that we can absolutely fight back. True happiness, that lasting sense of well-being, it isn't found in chasing the next notification or the end of the scroll. It's found when we consciously decide to retrain our brains to value real-world depth and connection over another cheap dopamine hit. And that really just leaves one final question. In this world that is literally designed to steal it from you, your attention is the most valuable thing you own. So the real question is, how are you going to reinvest it?
Understanding begins with why.